hello, students. Great to see you all. Very excited to share, to bring you guys in my world. I've been in sports business for over 25 years. I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University. I earned my bachelor's and master's in sports management. I am a former student athlete. I played basketball at Florida A&M as well. I am from a family of athletes, so I don't think I've had the choice to whether I was going to play any type of sports. So I started playing basketball when I was 5 years old. In the fifth grade, I knew that I wanted to go to college, and then in high school, it just took off from there. So very excited to work in sports management is what I've always wanted to do. When I first went to college, I didn't really know the avenue that I wanted to go in. It wasn't until my graduate internship with Nike that I was able to actually intern with Phoenix Mercury, which is the one of the WNBA teams that started out the inaugural season for the actual league. And through that internship, basically, I learned a lot about really branding, promotions, awareness, really garnering interest into women's sports. And from there, I was able to build a very awesome career at Nike Incorporated. I traveled, I lived in Pittsburgh, I was in Oregon, and then LA before moving back to my home state of Georgia. So was with Nike for 10 years, and then I joined the WNBA in 2018. So the WNBA is basically an opportunity for me to align my personal and professional passion, and that's inspiring youth in my love for basketball. So I can say that the ball's been bouncing for me ever since I picked it up. So I've had the opportunity to work with phenomenal professional athletes on the WNBA and NBA side. I've been leading a team within ticket sales. I've led teams within ticket sales, marketing, community relations. I've been on the basketball operations side, which I was VP of basketball operations with the team in Atlanta. So I have a vast amount of experience on the business side and the basketball operations side. So what I love to do is when we get the opportunity to connect with students and actually bring them to the arena or them intern with us, they get to see the behind the scenes. Everybody gets to see the glamorous side of sports when you come to the game and all the glitz and glamour, the lights and camera and all that. But it really takes a lot of special, dedicated, and committed people to make it happen. You make a lot of sacrifices in sports. So now I'm not sure if some of you are working in sports now, but if you are, you know what I'm talking about. You lose out a lot of holidays, a lot of your weekends, but I was always taught that if you're doing something that you love, is not a job. And I can honestly say that I'm extremely passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I wake up every morning with joy because I am doing what exactly I want to do. I'm doing what I'm actually using my degree, so to speak. And a lot of people can't say that, and I understand you have to pay the bills and you have to do what you have to do. But when you're blessed to do something that you probably would do for free if you could. And that's the situation that I'm in now. So what I'm doing aligns with my personal mission and goals. I have a nonprofit back in my hometown of Fort Valley, Georgia. So my mission to inspire and to motivate student athletes and make our communities better. Really, I'm doing it full circle. So it's a pleasure to meet you guys. I look forward to answering your questions, and I hope you got some good ones because I got a lot of experience and I'm quite sure I can answer them all. And if I can't, I know somebody who can.
Well, now, Natalie, first of all, don't sidestep the fact you really went to the FAMU because of the band, because everyone wants to go see the FAMU band, right?
You know,
Um,
everybody wants to go see the band. I mean, it's just a beautiful campus. It really is the number one public HBCU, and I'm just blessed that I was able to earn my degree, be in the Hall of Fame for women's basketball, and just excelled on all levels. I owe FAMU a lot, a lot.
So even though you were in the Nike, you also had to think on your feet quite a bit, right? Of how to
Yes.
tell us some of the things that you had to do that really innovated your space to make sure that it was something that worked within the group, but expanded what they had done before you got there.
So one of my first roles at Nike, it was called the position is called Ekin, EKIN. And I know you guys are smart. You already know that's Nike spelled backwards. So what that position does is a marketing position that really work with the Nike strategic accounts to educate them on Nike products, processes, and to help them engage with their client base more. So it was a lot of training, a lot of facilitating training. We had to be creative in regards to really breaking down the product for Nike. Nike's product is very innovative, is functional and is fashionable. But we focus on the functionality of the product. So it was just basically I knew Nike product from footwear, apparel to equipment like the back of my hand. That was probably the best position at Nike because you were the eyes and ears out in the community. And I was very fortunate to get Ekin of the Year. And that is one of, if you talk to anybody who worked at Nike, they either wanted to be an Ekin or they know about that position because it was one of those sacred positions. It was one of that, if you would call it sorority, fraternity. It was one of those positions that really Nike held near and dear. And it was hard to get. It was hard to get. So, but if you're passionate about something and people see it, and you're able to inspire and motivate others, that position would be for you.
Maddie, what's your question?
Um, this could be in your previous job or the one currently with the LA Sparks, but how do you set out to differentiate your team from others in the same league or in the sporting industry in general?
Basically, we every market, so it's 12 WNBA teams. Every market is different, and so what we focus on is what's unique to LA. It is a destination place. LA is one of the key markets. The league wouldn't be the league without LA. So within the 12 teams, there are cities that you need to thrive, and you need to be innovative, and you need to be creative. So my approach, my management style is I'm very inclusive. I love for people to use their voices. I love creativity. I can think of things here and there, but someone who is creative every single day, that's a blessing, and I truly appreciate that. And I'm not one to to use my personal opinion in regards to different things. If it doesn't appeal to me, we can't do it. No, there are our fan base is very diverse, and we are global. So we're leading the league in social media from a follower standpoint because every Los Angeles Sparks fan don't live in LA. They don't live in LA. So the approach is to really maximize the opportunities that we have, leverage LA, everything that we know about LA. Every LA is very laid back. It's different from New York. So we utilize the talent and the creativity of what LA brings, what LA means, and really diving into the culture and the fabric of the people who are from LA. I'm not from LA. I'm from Georgia, so you can imagine the southern hospitality approach that I brought to LA, and it has worked out. Genuine people are genuine people. Any You can train anybody to do a job, but who that person is within, and if they are team players, I can work with them. It's hard for me to establish genuine relationships and working relationships with people who are just out for themselves. We work long hours, and it's a lot of projects, and it takes the teams to get it done. So I have a very inclusive approach, and I encourage everybody to bring something to the table. There's no bad idea.
Well, so Reed, what's your question?
So you said you target like the market of LA. What is it specifically about the places that you go that you target as a marketing tool?
It's more so about how we show up, from the brand awareness, really getting our players out in the market, because I believe that if the people are able to meet our players, to get to know them off the court, see their personalities, they understand that they're human just like everybody else. And that's what differentiates us from the NBA. We're more accessible. Our players, their mothers, they love fashion. Um, they love hanging out. They love TikTok. They are the essential to what the young kids, and how they can relate. They can relate because they are essentially building their brands. They're building their brands, and really preparing themselves for life. After their professional basketball career is over.
Aiden, what's your question?
So you talk about how much you love your job. How do you um kind of not burn out with your certain job and like with what you love?
You know what? That's an awesome question. And back when people, I know you guys have heard the term work-life balance. Sometimes I don't even know if that's possible. I continuously prioritize things on a daily basis. I mentioned to you guys that I have a nonprofit back in my home. So I'm an entrepreneur as well. So I burn the candle at both ends. And what I do is I am a very structured and disciplined person. I think that comes from being a point guard on the basketball team, and for leading others. You just have to do what you say you're gonna do, and really take time for yourself. And I didn't understand that when I first got started. I mean, when I was doing that graduate internship in Phoenix with Nike, I think I was working 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week. Granted, I was getting paid for it, but at the same time, I was not doing myself a good service. I wasn't taking care of myself so that I could be the best version of me. So it wasn't until probably about 10 years ago I really understood the importance of taking vacations, and understanding that the work that you left is going to be there when you get back. I am a family oriented person. I mentioned that I'm from Georgia, so I live in LA. So I'm back at least once or twice a month in Georgia. I don't want to miss out on those milestone events, my niece birthday parties. 2 years ago, we were able to celebrate my grandmother's 100th birthday before she passed. I was able to be there. So you have to take care of yourself. Um, and pretty much, if you would have caught me, early 2000s, my conversation would have been different, because it was work, 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 work. And then if you have a little time, a little bit. But now I feel like I have more of a balance of work, play, because I had to. I had to. Um, I've have felt the feeling of being burnt out before, because when you're in this position, you get pulled from all different angles. And one thing about it is you have to understand that you can't say yes to everybody. So when I started to understand the power of no, I felt better. I was like, no, I can't do that. Then I was like, that felt good, you know, because I was one that always made time for everybody and everything. But I realized that, you know, when I when I'm down, who's there to pick me up, or who's there to pick up all the pieces? No one. No one. So I might as well schedule things around me and get the things done that need to be done, prioritize, and have time for my family, for faith, for my job, and then for my friends. Those things are important to me. But great question. Thanks for asking. We have to, self-care is number one on the list. If you can't be the best you can't be anything for anybody else.
So don't be trying the whole no thing with me. Okay, Kayla, what question do you have for our guest?
So how would you say that you've used your experience as a student athlete in your position?
Leadership, leadership, and confidence. When I discovered, man, that word confidence, when I tell you, being young, fresh out of graduate school, stepping into the big world of Nike, walking into a boardroom with people who don't look like me, who have been in the industry 10 to 20 years, looking at me like, what are you going to teach me? And that confidence that I had, and number one, preparation. I'm always going to be prepared. I've earned every seat at the tables where I sit currently. And I repeat that, I earn. Don't take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts. Enjoy the journey of where you're trying to go. Because if you take those shortcuts, you're going to lose out on the lessons that you will learn along the way. And trust me, it will pay off. Hard work does pay off. One of my mottos is work hard, have fun. Work hard, have fun. And you'll get it, you'll get it done. You'll get it done. But yeah, so with me, from being a student athlete, that's why I love teamwork so much, because nothing that I accomplished in college during my collegiate basketball experience was, I couldn't have done it without my teammates. And I truly understand that. And 80, I don't know if you guys know that 80% of women who are in C-suite levels, they play sports. 80% play sports. And that's a testament to how important sports is, and the values and the lessons and those things that sports teaches us. How to win, how to lose, how to, you have a game, you lose a game, you got another game, how to quickly bounce back. Those are the things. And that goes the same thing in business. We don't get every sponsorship deal that we want. We don't win every game. The Sparks are right now, we're in a rebuilding phase. We haven't made the playoffs in a couple years. So the Sparks were a pinnacle franchise. They didn't go, back to back to back without making the playoffs when you're the winningest team within the league. And understanding that every year teams get better. Every year teams get better. So, but that's a testament of, in life, the more you prepare yourself, the more you master your craft, the more you work on you, the more you focus on the things that you want to do, the better the outcome of success. If you take days off to where you're not learning, every day you should learn something, because it's a very competitive market out here, So obviously, take breaks, do what you have to do, but make sure that you are not falling into that lackadaisical, that procrastination phase that tries to creep into your life. I've never been a procrastinator, and I credit that to being a student athlete and having 6 a.m. practices. Got to go eat breakfast. After that, I did all of my classes in college. I was done by 1 p.m. I'm a morning person naturally. I don't drink any coffee. I drink tea sometimes, but I'm a morning person. I'd rather get up, get after it, so that I can have the rest of my day. I developed great study habits in high school that translated over into college. I love reading. I love learning. I love just really pouring into me, investing into me. You know, how can I get better? And I am 50 years old and I still have a lot to learn. And I'm so excited about that, because you know how that feeling is when when you read something or you explore something and you have that aha moment, you actually get it and you can use that in your life, in your business, in your profession, in your career objectives, that's an awesome feeling. So that's what I'm seeking every day. How can I learn how to do things better, become more efficient? Because it's not about just working hard, it's working smarter. It's working smarter. I'm telling you. Because you got to be able to compete, have these competing priorities. You got to be able to multitask, but you got to be able to work smart as well.
So one of our track team people that keeps throwing a hammer for a living, Jocelyn, kind of tell us what you think. I mean, what's your question for Natalie?
Yeah, so you talked a lot about your experiences that you got leading up to the position that you have.
Uh-huh.
People get or try to get experience through internships and jobs. But nowadays, a lot of the jobs require you to have experience. So what would be your advice to someone who doesn't have experience and is trying to get their foot in the door?
I would say do some informational interviews. Find that person within that position where you aspire to be, and find out. I love to learn people's journey. So if I see someone where they are now, I want to know, how did you get there? So because I know that you didn't start where you are now. So there was a path that you took. So the informational interviews will help kind of direct that path. And then also too, some companies, they have shadow days where you come and be able to shadow certain departments. We work with a lot of youth organizations here that help students learn more about their career path and those things they want to do. So I take 4 of those students from this program every year, and they're able to cross um, cross promote in different departments to learn about it. And that's how you decide what you want to do as well. Naturally, a lot of people think, in sports, yeah, I got to get in ticket sales in order to get my foot in the door. That's a misconception. Ticket sales is one of the most, I think, the hardest positions within an organization, but it teaches you the most, because you can't look at it as, oh, I'm just selling tickets to the game. It ain't nothing. I'm just selling tickets. No, you're not. You are making memories, helping people experience. You're providing an experience for people to help them make memories, because when they go to the game and you're responsible for them getting there and they have an awesome time, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to call you back. Oh man, I had such an unbelievable time. What else can we do? Those things. And I think he mentioned Kathy Burrow. Troy mentioned Kathy Burrows earlier. Kathy is the master of really experiential conversations, and how to really sell yourself. Because once people really don't buy what you're selling, they buy what you're saying to them and how you make them feel and the impact that you have. Anybody can go online and get tickets, but it's the conversation. you know it's the appreciation and value of really engulfing yourself and caring about what that person needs. So back to your question in regards to, from internships to informational interviews, um, to shadowing. There are a lot of ways to kind of get the answers you need. But internships do offer from the experience factor. You're in the day to day. That's different. You get to actually see what goes on, and internships. And if you get an internship and you feel like you're not really getting what you want out of it, meaning that you are making copies, you are just taking notes in meetings, all that's good. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you can do an evaluation, like, what did I learn today? you know and that's what we do, within our internships. And our internships are course credit only. We don't have paid internships. We have course credit only, but we have a high rate of hiring interns once they graduate, because you're actually like kind of junior employee as much as the law allows us to do. I believe in getting your hands dirty and putting your own projects, and you're not just getting coffee. Like I told you, I don't even drink coffee, so I don't need to make a coffee run for me. I need your ideas. I need your creativity. I need for you to think like the young person that you are, to help us tap into the minds and understanding what would make someone your age want to come and support the WNBA. And that's the consistent thing.
Fantastic. So another leader who's on the court is Marcel. Marcel, what's your question?
Um, After like continued success and like getting to such a high position in your field, how do you find ways to grow and like continue that success that you have?
So your growth comes from understanding um your weaknesses, or understanding areas where you want to be sharper, and being honest about it. You know, during the off season, I took a 6 week course with Cornell, Cornell, an online course, and it was about women entrepreneurship in business. Obviously, I've already had my business, but this is more so that, if I could do it all over again, what are some things I would do differently, and how do I sustain, the business? How do I grow the business? So those classes really educated me on processes, procedures, steps, what to avoid. So it's in, like I mentioned earlier, it's investing in you, and you have to love learning. And we have our phones in our hands almost 24 hours a day. We wake up, you look at it, you go before you go to bed, you're looking at it throughout the day, you're on it. Use that to your advantage and to learn something. I mean, the kind of a blessing and a curse is Google. But at the same time, if you use it to your advantage, you know, it could help you. It can help you. There's nothing that you need to know, or want to know, or need to find out, you can't find. And that's the great things. I remember when I mean, the library was my friend, and I still go to Barnes and Noble and just sit there for hours when I'm really working on a project, because I love online, but I still love like picking up that book and turning those pages, and really doing that old school research. It's just something about it. And two, you got to understand your rhythm and your pattern of how you learn. And that's one thing that once you figure that out, you will feel fed, and you will be fulfilled, because you're learning something. It's not it's not just something that, hey, I really don't care about that, but I read it. No, use your time wisely. Use your time wisely. And like I said, you, you know, whatever you're into, try to learn something new every day. Try to learn something new every day, and it will help you. It will help you within your career. So whatever it is that you want to be, if you want to be president of an organization, or you want to be an executive leadership, are you volunteering within sports councils or different boards that different cities have? Are you on fundraising projects? There are a lot of opportunities. Yes, I have a very busy schedule, and I limit myself with the amount of boards that I'm asked to be on. But currently, I'm on 3, and they're active. I just got something last night. I was like, oh, geez, we got to find a speaker for this women's series that we're doing. So it's one of those things where I don't do things that I don't want to do, if that makes sense. Like, I don't do things just because it looks good on paper. Because when you volunteer, and if you in volunteering, whether That means that you're not getting paid for it, but it's not expected for you to do less work just because you're not getting paid for it because you volunteered to do this. And a lot of great things come out of volunteering because um, we are. It's our duty to give back. It's our duty to give back, and that's something that when you are applying for jobs or maybe furthering your career, getting your master's or your doctorate or MBA and those things, they look at that. They look at those things. They look at those things. Especially you can't come to me and send me your resume and say you want to be a part of a community, but I don't see anywhere on your resume that you were a part of the community, if that makes sense. So be conscious of where you want to be and how to navigate that path to get there, and be honest with yourself and be genuine about it, because there are going to be plenty of things that you have to do that you don't want to do, but the sooner that you can do what you have to what you have to do, so that later on that continues down. Like I've paved my own way, so that I've done the things I was like, I'm gonna do what I don't want to do now, so later on I don't have to worry about this you know so and that's the goal, to wake up every day and to enjoy what you do. I can't speak about that enough.
Austin, what's your question?
So, being an athlete that's had to, all athletes kind of go through that adversity, within sports. How do
Mhm.
you take those experiences from going through adversity in sports and translate it to the business world when going through adversity through your many different organizations that you've worked with?
Ooh, that's a loaded one there. Let's see. Number one, I'm a woman of faith. And number two, control what you can control. Um, this may not be breaking news to a lot of you, but there are a lot of people out there that are not rooting for you. There are a lot of people that are saying, yep, I support you. I'll do anything for you. Just call me. And you call them and they never answer. I'm a woman. I love women in sports. I want to support. Have you been to a WNBA game? No. So be a good judge of character. What you see is what you get. When people show you who they are, believe it and learn how to navigate around it. Because one thing that I always tell people work with a lot of young kids, I'll tell a 5 or 6 year old, I'll tell them every time, nope, don't do that. I'll tell them 100 times because they're learning. With adults, I'm only gonna say it once, because think about some of the bad habits that you may have, and think about that bad habit that you finally got rid of. Now think about how long it took you to get rid of that bad habit. When as adults, people get set in their ways. You can't change people. People only can change themselves. So don't stress yourself out understanding why is this person like this, why they can't see things the way I see it, why our personalities don't get along. I am a person that I can work with anybody. And what helps is that when I know who I'm working with, that helps me navigate how I work with them, not how I can change them, how I can work with them. So, um, throughout my collegiate and probably the first 10 years of my professional career, I can honestly say I had some of the best bosses, best managers, best GMs. It wasn't until I turned 40 when the tables started turning and I started to experience some bad leadership. So that teaches you a couple things. It teaches you how not to lead, and understanding that when you get a position of power, titles don't mean anything to people. It's how you treat people is what means the most. So don't be that person that you hated when you were treated the way you were treated if you've been through that. So um being kind doesn't cost anything. Doesn't cost anything. You don't have to be I'm laying down the hammer. What I say goes all the time. No, 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 no. You can be firm and fair. Don't worry about being light because no, you can be the nicest person, and no matter what you do, somebody's not gonna like it. So as long as you doing the right thing, you should feel good about yourself and be open. I have an open door policy. If there's something bothering anybody, they come in and they share it, or they may be confused, or just obviously being honest too. Like in your class, if you guys are around each other a lot, you know and if and sometimes people just say, if there's one thing about me that you would change, what would that be? And it's having those it's being able to accept that constructive criticism, and also accepting feedback that's going to help you be a better person, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You're so used to doing things a certain way, or so used to being a certain way, to whereas you can't see it, but those of you who are around you, they see it. you know and there's it's not about being perfect, because we're all going to make mistakes, but it's what we learn from those mistakes so that we can be better and understand it, like, man, I would have did that differently. So the great news is you'll always have an opportunity to do something different. You always have opportunity to do something different.
Malachi, what's your question?
So out of your experience, what would you say was the biggest challenge that you personally faced, and how did you overcome that?
Probably the biggest challenge is um let's see, um the biggest challenge for me is not the work, is people. And what I mean by that is, like I just mentioned, like you can't you can control um what you need to control, what you can control, and learn how to navigate around certain circumstances. I'm not a naive person. I take things, face value, but I don't have a problem with trusting, people as well. Everybody I meet, you come in with a clean slate. It's up to you to prove me wrong. So the challenge is, from a management um, position, is just bringing that loyalty back to working in sports. Um, certain people have gotten away from that. It could be cutthroat sometimes. We don't experience it a lot on the WNBA side, but I know it's evident on the NBA side more so, um, because people think that they have to do certain things to just say, "Hey, hey, 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 look at me! Hey, look at me! Look at me!" You don't have to do that. Let your work speak for itself. Let your work speak for itself. Let what you do, let your reputation precede you, and people will never forget that. They will never forget that. Um, and then, as far as with the Los Angeles Sparks and just the league as a whole, the challenge for us is the marketing and the awareness of the phenomenal ladies that we have on the court. once we get people to games, they love it. And that challenge is getting them there. So the different creative methods through marketing, through ticket packages, through the stories and content that we put on social media, we never know what's going to make someone come to the game. You know, I know all of you, if you haven't heard of Caitlin Clark, then you've probably been living up under a rock, because she's been um, the person that everybody's been talking about at the University of Iowa, with her breaking, the scoring records, and just her unbelievable skill set of shooting threes, and how she's leading her team into March Madness. But she declared for the WNBA draft. So on April 15th, she will be the number one draft pick. She'll be going to the Indiana Fever. And because around the world, people like this young kid, she's playing at Iowa, but she's going to go around to 12 WNBA cities. And we played them on May 24th, and that game is already sold out in LA. It's not like it's out. It's like, it's because people want, it's like a show. People want to see her, because the fascination of the amount of shots that she takes, and the amount of points that she can score, and the distance that she's doing it. So WNBA and women's basketball is the topic of conversation now, more so than men's. It's going to be a phenomenal March Madness, the NCAA women's tournament. I'm looking forward to it, because that's helping the WNBA league. That's helping the game. These women that are going to be drafted within months, they're going to go from being collegiate athletes to professional athletes. So we're looking forward to that. So the challenge for us still lies in pay equity for our players, and getting people to support. We're getting more major brands to support from a league perspective, but letting that trickle down to the grassroots, to the market level, to get that same support and media coverage.
Brady, what's your question?
Earlier, you mentioned creativity. For someone who's new to the field, to increase their creativity and confidence to set them apart from others.
So say that last part again.
Raise your voice.
You mentioned creativity. What advice would you have for someone who's new to this field to increase their creativity and confidence to set them apart from others?
Okay. And what area? So give me an example of, and then I can give you a real life example of, are they in marketing? Are they in sponsorship? Are they in
Yeah, marketing.
in marketing? Oh, with marketing is pretty much, I think that from a we're in the age of digital is king. So social media is basically the landscape that's really has everybody's attention. And I think that what makes you unique in regards to, are you up on all of the trends, in regards to the engagement on Instagram, TikTok, on X, what is it 15-second videos? Is it reels? Is it, what's the voice, and what's the persona of the organization, and how will you translate that to the feed? So just knowing, really is about preparation, and just knowing what are some essential tools that can help the team. So knowing, say, if you're applying for a position and you studied that company's social media, immediate you should be able to pick up and say, you know what, if I was the social media specialist, for example, here's what I would do different. Or I look at a team's social media, do I understand who they are? Do I understand what's important to them or to their fans? Or am I being educated about their players? What do I know about their players? How does seeing their social media make me become a fan? So those are the questions essentially that a VP of marketing or a marketing manager will look for someone to come in, working with the graphic designer to create these effects and create these graphics and these stills and the reels and stuff to really entice the fans and attract the a new audience, because we all know that people they like to scroll on social media. They're not staying there, watching for a long time unless the content is good or it's a series or different things. So, and it's about knowing your audience too. So the creativity that you bring is more so about what's unique, what's your unique style, because every team, um, their social media specialist plays an important role because they are the voice of the team. They're the voice of the team. And there's so many different creative artists and people out there that do some phenomenal things, and teams tap into that. They tap into that. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen NBA paints, and they take team logos, and they use the old application in for software, and just making it simple, but it's funny, and it has taken off. So it's gonna be, and those things are like, that may last a couple months, then people on to the next thing. So it's just, just being creative, and like I said earlier, um that's what we're looking for. Like, I can, we're in meetings and I can think of something that one time, but the next meeting I'm like, man, I don't have anything for you today. But there are people like you guys that are like, you just like creative, like thinking, like nonstop, like your wheels are just always turning, and that's what people are looking for. But then once you get in there, it's the consistency of it. You have to hone in on your craft to get better every day, because those metrics matter. So when the reports come out, and if the engagement is up and followers are up and all those things, then it's like, okay, all right, we're moving in the right direction. So I think just being unique, everybody has a niche. So finding out what that niche is and basically just building off of it.
Well, fantastic, Natalie. Our class is over, but I appreciate you on. Are you gonna be at ALSD, which will be in LA in July? Because if so,
You know what? I have to see what date it is when you email that. No, I hadn't planned on it because I didn't know about it. But I need to see what date it is.
make sure that you're on that list. We'll get you on. Hey, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you guys.